The government absolutely hammered, shellacked in the House of Lords in a series of votes on the immigration bill yesterday. I wanted to flag this up, guys, but as ever, if you can start off, please, by giving this video a big thumbs up, click subscribe and the bell so you don't miss future reports. Lots going on, I don't want you to miss it. But this was a vote yesterday, a couple of votes in the House of Lords on the immigration bill. Now, the immigration bill had already been voted for by MPs, gone through its third reading in June. 342 MPs voted for it, only 248 MPs against. So a pretty healthy majority there, obviously, with Boris Johnson's majority, a Conservative majority, voting it through in the House of Commons. But absolutely thrashed in the Lords yesterday. One of the votes, 106 majority against the Conservative government and against with an amendment on the immigration bill. I think it's worth highlighting because is this really sustainable where you've got so many Lib Dem peers in the Lords, so many pro-EU hardliners in the Lords, and again now we've seen the government lose, not by small majorities, but very, very large ones. Let me know what you think in the comments in terms of the Lords. I mean, I've laid it out before. The three options, I think, for the government is either they can pack it out with Brexiteers, they can abolish the House of Lords, or they can just continue to get a drubbing and lose vote after vote. Those seem to me to be the votes. But let me just give you the latest on what happened on these votes yesterday. So this is on the Immigration and Social Security Coordination EU Withdrawal Bill. As I said, the immigration bill was voted for by 342 MPs versus 248 against. Now, just to give you a quick rundown now of all these votes that the government effectively lost on in the House of Lords yesterday. First of all, there was of peers by 304 votes to 224, majority of 80. Back to Labour-led demand for an independent review into the impact of ending free movement of people on social care. Lords voted by 312 to 223, majority of 89, to block the imposition of financial restrictions on Brits returning to the UK with their EU families from March 2022. An amendment to give EU children in care and care leavers automatic and indefinite leave to remain was supported by 323 versus 227, majority of 96. It goes on and on here, guys, seriously. The government then suffered two later defeats, bringing the total number for the day to 6. So peers by 298 votes to 192, majority of 106, backed a demand for EU citizens granted permission to live in the UK to be given physical evidence of their migration status, currently offered digital proof. The House of Lords then went on to back a Lib Dem-led amendment to impose a 28-day limit on immigration detention by 184 votes to 156, majority of 28. And that last one there, an amendment to impose a 28-day limit on immigration detention. And just to give you an idea on that vote, specifically on the breakdown, it was 138 Conservative MPs voted against, but you had 74 Labour and 69 Lib Dems get that through, and the government lose on that vote. Now, Tory Home Office Minister Baroness Williams has said that this government is equally as concerned as all peers about the well-being of vulnerable children and is committed to supporting them wherever we can. She highlighted plans to reform the broken asylum system to make it firm but fair. And Lady Williams said that our reform system will be fair and compassionate towards those who need our help by welcoming people through safe and legal routes. A Home Office spokesperson saying we have a long and proud history of providing protection to vulnerable children and have presented a genuine offer to the EU on future reciprocal arrangement for the family reunion of unaccompanied asylum-seeking children. Now, just to give you a flavour of what some of the peers were saying on this, Lib Dem peer Lord Strasburger tweeting, voted till after midnight in the Lords to defeat government 6 times on its nasty immigration bill. Many of us were working hours before the 1 p.m. start, all for no salary and a small allowance. I won't get anything for the work I do today, just saying. Now, the legislation will go back to the House of Commons for approval, and with a large government majority, and the amendments are unlikely to remain. But is it really sustainable that when you look at something like the immigration bill, as I said, with the Conservative government, with that majority in the House of Commons voting it through, you're then getting multiple defeats, a myriad of defeats in the House of Lords, including, as I say, on one vote, by 106 majority against the government. Is that really sustainable? And are the government willing and happy, potentially now for years to come, to simply keep losing these votes time and time and time again and have it go back to House of Commons? Or are they going to take a radical approach? Is there going to be some reform of the Lords? Or are they even going to look at getting rid of it completely? Because it seems to me there's a complete imbalance. You know, so many Lib Dem peers there. As I said, on that vote alone, you had 69 Lib Dems on one of the votes, almost as many as the number of Labour peers, 69 versus 74. And time again now, you're seeing the government outvoted on this. And what I would like to know from you guys as well, in terms of on the issue of immigration, on the immigration bill, what would you like to see the government's approach comprise of? Because, of course, after the end of the transition period, the UK taking back control. But in terms of the government approach on immigration, what do you want to see them really focus on and deliver? Do you think Boris Johnson and the government will, for instance, bring down the level of net migration? It's still well into the hundreds of thousands net, but very, very clear here. And it's something worth pointing out that time and time again now there are heavy defeats for the government and the Lords. I guess to some extent you could say, well, does it really matter? Because it goes back to MPs. But is this really sustainable? As I said, on where you can see time and time again the government suffering heavy losses on the immigration bill, and if it stays like this, it'll be on many other subjects as well. Let me know what you think. What you think Boris Johnson and the government should do when it comes to House of Lords. Should they just suck it up and keep going and trudge along and accept these defeats, or should they take radical action, potentially replacing or abolishing the Lords completely? Or do you think they simply need to pack the House with more Brexiteers so you get some more reflective votes? It just strikes me that when you get a majority, of Conservative majority government with Boris Johnson and something like the immigration bill voted through by MPs, and you've got so many Lib Dems and pro-EU peers voting time and time again to defeat the government, is this something that really long term is sustainable? Let me know what you think in the comments, guys, as ever. And if you've enjoyed this report, if you found it helpful and informative, please remember to give this video a big thumbs up, click subscribe and the bell so you don't miss future reports. And of course, guys, thank you very much for watching.